What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Satoru Gojo here. And I am here to take over Fright Night Fridays once again. Why? Because your boy KnightxKenshin don't know when to upload Fright Night Fridays. So here I am to address the situation. So let's get into it, okay? Now, I don't get how he does this, but Fright Night Fridays, they were every Friday. Corey Kitchen. Upload some scary videos that I pick out, and until you guys decide to, send me the videos, I am here to upload them. So, somebody knocking on the door? Hey, freak. The freak is at the door. Freak cuz thought he was doing taking over my freaking channel. Y'all had y'all fun with him. It's my turn. What, y'all thought I wasn't gonna upload Friday Night Fridays? You know who I am? Alright, y'all, so Friday Night Fridays, they were every Friday. Y'all already know. I'm gonna say it, like it or not, because I know there's some haters out there. Every Friday, the Hashira and the Samurai come together. We sit back, relax, grab some snacks. You already know your boy got some. You already know, what is it? It's the shrimp flavor of ramen. Go get you some ramen. Go get you some Sprite. And go get you, I don't know, maybe a chocolate. With all that being said, first video. I know y'all see me in a different shirt. That means it's a different day. The first one is 3 True Hooters Horror Stories animated. But the thing is, we're not going to watch all 3 of them. And it was uploaded by our boys over at Horror Source Party. Goated. Gosh.
I woke up on the wrong side of the bed one morning to what sounded like raccoons digging through my trash can. I armed myself with a broomstick and ran outside in my pajamas.
You grabbed it out of bed?
Whatever it was had already run off. They left my trash can knocked over, with all the bags split open. And there was trash strewn all over the place. That certainly didn't put me in a good mood, but I had to pick it up as quickly as I could. I had a double shift at work that day, noon to close. Had to get a shower and everything too, because a Hooters girl doesn't earn tips if she smells like trash. My whole day at work was awful. We had more creeps in the restaurant than usual, which is saying something. Many hungry eyes were waiting for me. The nastiest creeps too. Relentless and persistent, and most were too broke to tip me more than a few quarters. But the worst part was, Carl, the fry cook who was working the same shift as me,
he looked creepy too,
more than any customer, with these sad, pathetic eyes. I couldn't even catch a break in the kitchen. Carl was one of the most obese men I have ever seen. His gut was so large he struggled to reach past it to flip the patties on the griddle. He never seemed to clean his work clothes either, because there wasn't a spot left on his apron that didn't have a week's old grease stain on it. You'd expect a guy like him to smack 3 orders of food on his lunch breaks, but he never had the time to eat at work.
I know the quality is looking pretty bad, so let me fix this right now.
He was always frantically writing in his worn-out notebook during his breaks, glancing up at me whenever I was around, like he knew I was going to pass by.
But he
never stopped scribbling until it was time for him to go back to grilling. Slowly but surely the hours passed, and the restaurant finally closed for the night. All that was left was to clean up and lock up before leaving. Pretty soon, Carl and I were the only ones left.
Please don't do this to me.
I thoroughly mopped the restaurant floor to avoid him as he cleaned the kitchen. The last place left was the men's bathroom. I always save it for last. It's kind of a vile place. I took a deep breath before entering the stench within and started mopping underneath the urinals.
I swear they intentionally piss on the floor.
Just to add on to the terrible day I was having, I started hearing suspicious noises again, rustling from the handicap stall, like someone was scraping their feet on the floor. I shoved the mop into the bucket and yelled impatiently,
"Is someone still in here? We're closed."
No answer. I walked up to the handicap stall and tried to look inside, but the door was locked.
Whoever's in there, you have to leave. We're closed for the night.
I started banging on the door, letting out all the frustrations of the day. I gave up not very long after. I was getting tired of this.
She about to shoot that freaking bathroom down.
I heard footsteps from the other side and saw a pair of muddy shoes beneath the door. I jolted back right as the door flew open, revealing a man who looked like he'd lived in a swamp his whole life and had starved for most of it.
Gosh.
I recognized him as a customer from earlier in the day. It's nice to see you're in such a rush to see me again, baby doll, but you don't have to worry. We're alone now.
You don't have to worry. It's okay. I got this nice pepper spray in the back of my pocket.
We've got lots of time. I grabbed the mop for a lack of
Smacked
a better
him with it.
weapon of defense, waving the dripping mess of tangled, filth-soaked cloth in his
Smack
face.
the dirt off him.
Forget all that. We're closed. Get out of here.
That's not gonna stop me, sweetheart. He grabbed the head of the mop and yanked it out of my hands in a flash. I'm not leaving here without you by my side. Why don't you come over to my place for the night?
Beat it, creep.
No, you've got attitude, don't you? Don't worry, I'll take care of that. I made a break for the door.
Bro.
He lunged at me and grabbed my arm. I screamed.
Carl!
We struggled for a moment before the fry cook into the bathroom.
Oh my gosh.
I've never been so glad to see him in my life. Carl took the creep by the shoulders and ripped him away from me like a rag doll. Carl slammed the creep against the wall and pinned him up.
You see how my mans have him grabbed? My mans have him up against the wall. Like, stay where you are, sir. I'm not even gonna put my hands on you. Stay where you are.
Pinned him up. What's going on here?
He's a creep, Carl. Throw him out already.
It's just a misunderstanding, sir. Carl stared him down for an uncomfortable length of time. Then he whispered something in the creep's ear that I couldn't make out. The creep nodded readily. Then Carl set him down. Immediately, it seemed like all the tension had been diffused.
They was up
The
to
creep
something.
smiled non-offensively, then
Oh, yeah, he did.
calmly walked out and left the store.
Him and Carl up to something.
How did
Remember
you do
that?
that without roughing him up?
Carl grinned from ear to ear like a big goof. I just told him what would happen.
That's
Well,
a
thank you very
cat.
much, Carl. I appreciate it.
You're always welcome, Selena. I picked up the mop again, wanting to just finish closing so I could finally go home.
He probably told her me at the back door.
Hey, since I saved you and all, do you think...
We ain't about to be going into no debates. I already know where this is going. You're not about to just come up to me. I saved your life. You want to go out to dinner? What? No. Don't even think of even asking me if I want to go out to dinner. If I want to go back to your place. If I was a female man, I'm playing hard to get. You ain't getting me. Too long.
Think you'd like to go out on a date with me?
Oh!
I already knew it. Hey, what? I already knew it. I already knew it. And guess what? I bet you, if she says no, and you already have a plan, he probably already told the dude like, yo, I'm gonna ask her out, right? And if she says no, we jump her. We take her out to dinner ourselves.
Not the time, Carl. Not the time.
Facts.
That's okay. I'll find a good time. Then he left. Thankfully.
Oh yeah, he knows
I
what
got
he's doing.
back to mopping. When I finally got home that night, I
He
was
followed her home.
utterly exhausted. I was seriously thinking of quitting Hooters. The meager tips didn't make up for all the interactions with sickos and freaks, and they were starting to make me paranoid. I changed back into my pajamas, made some hot chocolate, and got comfortable on the couch to binge watch my favorite show, all in an effort to just calm down and unwind
Who you
from
watching?
the
What
events
you
of
watching?
the day. Too bad I didn't have any roommates I could vent to. It wasn't long before my
Be like
moment
that.
of peace was ruined. I heard something rummaging through my trash can again. I didn't bother getting anything to chase them off this time. I figured my screams of rage would be enough to scare anything away. But when I opened my door, it wasn't a raccoon. It was the same creep from before, holding my trash can over his head and dumping everything onto the ground. When he saw me, he threw the empty can at me. I stumbled back through the doorway in a daze.
What the?
I told you, didn't I? You should have gone home with me, and none of this would have happened.
He stepped into my home undaunted. He laughed maniacally and inched his way closer to me. My mind raced. What should I do?
You should have closed the door immediately. You have a window.
I tripped and fell to the ground, crawling backwards towards the kitchen where
You saw how the way she flopped. Yo, look at the way that she fell.
I tripped and fell to the ground.
You tripped on carpet.
Backwards towards the kitchen where I could maybe get a proper weapon to defend myself. But then, another silhouette appeared behind the creep, swallowing him in the shadows.
You already know who that is.
Oh my! Skull. The creep clambered forward and looked back in shock.
Why'd you... This wasn't part of the deal!
I then realized who it was.
Told you.
It was Carl. He approached the creep without a word and grabbed him by the neck.
I would have closed the door and locked it.
Carl relentlessly pummeled the creep with his fists. There was no contest. Carl was a super heavyweight in a no-holds-barred cage match with a featherweight stickman. I walked.
My man's hit him like 60 times. Oh my god.
I watched in absolute shock as Carl let loose until the creep was totally limp. Carl then finally let him go.
Dead.
And just by the sound of the body made as it collided with the floor, I knew that Carl had beaten him to death. Carl then turned to me, his face half lit by the street lights shining through the wide open door.
Bro, why didn't you close the door and lock it?
Go on a date with me now?
What? No! Carl! What have you done?
I climbed to my feet, ready to outrun him if I needed to. What have I done? Really, I saved you twice. Is that not good enough for you? I know everything about you. What do you know about me? He said this.
That's the thing. I don't even know you.
Out from his pocket. He darted it to me while waiting for a response. I didn't take my eyes off Carl when I reached down slowly for the notebook. Suddenly, I realized why he was always writing in it.
He was writing about you.
Writing about me. He recorded my every movement, my habits, everyone I talked to. Did he really tell that guy to show up just so he could act like my knight? You better understand. I'm not leaving here without you by my side.
Several years ago, I used to work in an engineering firm where I would get carpal tunnel from typing on the keyboard all day. It was currently a Friday, so I figured I'd treat myself to a beer after my shift was done.
Fright Night Fridays, baby.
Hammered for a change, instead of heading home to an empty house with no female companionship. During my lunch break, I remember Googling any nearby pub and bar to go to. I came across a Hooters that was located about 15 minutes away by vehicle. I had previously been to many Hooters in the past and always found it quite charming to say the least. If I had to describe it, I would say it was like your ordinary sports bar, accompanied by some of the finest girls who wore their distinctive Hooters attire, of course with the orange shorts. Like I said before, I had been to many Hooters venues in the past, so going to this new location was really refreshing. As I made my arrival, it was roughly evening time, which meant that the place was probably hoarded with customers. I pushed open the front doors and saw exactly what I had anticipated.
I'm going for a lady in black hair.
Hooters
Maybe even her.
And a bunch of men flirting with them who were old enough to be the girls' fathers.
Oh my gosh.
I made my way across the bar, while slowly glancing at the array of bottles behind this attractive bartender. I casually leaned against the bar as she approaches me saying,
"What you drinking today, big guy?"
"Rum and Coke, please." The waitress then begins whipping up the concoction while staring across the bar at someone. At first, I couldn't tell exactly what she was looking at, but then I saw a rather large gentleman sitting at a table alone, making direct eye contact with her. If I had to describe the man, I would say he was in his late 40s and had a beer gut hanging onto his lap.
Smaller than the whole
I assumed he
chair.
was just some creep who had a crush on the bartender. As the Hooters lady began serving my drink, I nosily asked her, "Hey, is everything okay?"
"Not really. That weirdo across the room keeps looking at me."
"He's probably just a big fan of your drinks."
"Yeah. Not to mention there's been a rumor circulating around town. Hooters girls have gone missing."
"What? Are you freaking kidding me?"
"Hey, make me a beer, lady."
"Get someone else to do it. I'm about to clock out, pal."
"Make me a beer or else I'm telling your boss your shorts are tight enough to see your—" "Leave her alone now!"
About 5 minutes after that bizarre encounter.
Did I literally just jump so freaking badly?
Oh my gosh.
5 minutes after that bizarre encounter, I felt obligated to escort the lady outside the parking lot, and even went as far as to offer her a lift. The lady took me up on my offer as she wanted to avoid further confrontation with any creeps lurking in the night. As I drove down the street, I began striking up a decent conversation with the lady. Everything was pretty swell till she asked,
"So, where are you heading after?"
"What do you mean?"
"Like, after you drop me off. Are you heading home?"
"Who says you're heading home?"
"What?"
"You know, you should really be more careful before getting into a stranger's car. After all, Hooters waitresses have been disappearing, haven't they?"
Ooh.
"No! No, stop! Stop! Somebody help me! No!"
The next one for this week is Pizza Delivery Story 3, and it was uploaded by the GOATs over at Llama Arts. Pizza Delivery Story 3.
This happened in April of 2021. My region hadn't been hit so hard by COVID, so most aspects of our lives were normal. I had graduated in 2020 and I needed a job. I was 18 at the time, almost 19. I wasn't studying and I didn't know what the hell to do with my life. So in March, I got a job at Pizza Hut as a delivery driver and kitchen hand. The night seemed normal. It was one of those days that didn't seem like anything interesting would happen, but those are always the days when the unexpected happens, you know? It was around 10:30 on a Saturday night. We closed at 11, so it was just me and my boss during the last hour. As usual, we got a late order. It was close, and I had finished mopping and sweeping the floor, so it was no hassle. My boss was always prepared for a million orders to come at the last minute, so he asked me to do it as fast as possible. The restaurant was located in a plaza on the main road. The traffic was consistently heavy on a Saturday, so I avoided the main road and took the side exit. Even though the plaza was in one of the busiest parts of town, this street, however, was always so dark and empty. This street was also really long, so all you could see were the traffic lights about 500 meters ahead. Something was confusing me though, like my eyes were playing tricks on me. There was this black shadow blocking part of the lights. There was this metallic object shining in the light above, bobbing up and down like it was floating. As I got closer, I could see the bottom of this dark silhouette. It looked like it was walking. I realized it was some drunk idiot dressed in all black walking on the road. Or so I thought. I couldn't entirely see them, and I didn't know what they were carrying. so I approached with caution, preparing to brake or swerve. I got close enough to see this person was dressed in a long coat with a hood similar to a cowl, which is unusual where I live. I turned my car lights on bright and honked my horn, hoping that they'd move to the side or something, but they didn't even flinch. Finally, I got close enough to see that it was some asshole dressed as Death, carrying a scythe. Something was odd, though. People, even if they are on the sidewalk, usually look over their shoulder at an approaching car, but they didn't. As I drove past, however, this person ever so smoothly looked right into the window of my car on the driver's side. It gave me such a fright, like when people clap in your face. I passed them too quickly to see their face, let alone see what gender they were. After I passed them, I looked into my rearview mirror trying to see them, but it was so dark.
Yeah, you can't see anybody.
I stopped at the traffic lights, and that's when I started to panic. I remember those scary clown guys who used to block people's path and tap on car windows, so I went through the red.
Halloween? Yeah.
No one was on this road anyway. I pulled over to the side and tried calling the cops at the station, just in case somebody hits them, but no one answered. I remembered my boss told me to hurry, so I just went on with the delivery.
Send the pizza and get back.
I got to the house and parked on the side of the road, and I gave the people their pizza. It's always awkward handing over the pizza in silence, so to make conversation, I told them what I saw. They laughed and said that it was probably someone making a TikTok. I laughed as well. I guess it was a pretty good prank.
That don't look like no TikTok.
I got in my car and went to start it, but I couldn't find the keys. I checked outside my car as well, but I couldn't find them. I searched for ages, but no luck. I started to panic and kept thinking about that person I saw on the street. I jumped into my car and locked it from the inside. I almost started crying when I heard jingling. I looked to my right to see that person dressed as Death, holding my keys, staring into my window. I felt everything in my body pulsating, but I couldn't move. It was like they were staring into my soul. Eventually, I started acting on instinct. I don't remember thinking or doing it, but all of a sudden I was holding down the locks inside my car. My car is small and only has 2 doors, so I could easily reach across and hold both the locks down.
Bro.
They started spamming the car remote and trying to open the door. I was using all my energy to hold down those locks.
Gosh.
I don't think I'd ever used so much effort and strength.
I would have screamed. I'd be like, yo!
Again, I froze. I tried yelling at them, but I was holding my breath. Finally, a peep of strange sound came out as I gasped for air. I started screaming profanity at them. I screamed so much that my words became gibberish. A feeling of numbness took over my body, and I couldn't hear myself screaming anymore. My whole body was being controlled by my anxiety, and my ears were ringing. I was sweating profusely. All this time, I couldn't take my eyes off them. This person, this thing, standing over my car with a scythe. I knew that if they got in, I wouldn't stand a chance. The shadow from the hood hid their face. Was this even real? They stopped trying to get in and just looked at me. I started screaming out of exhaustion, and I became dizzy, and my vision was blurred. There was a silence, and then about 10 dogs started barking close by. This gave me hope. While leaning on the scythe, they lowered their body and put their face only a few centimeters from the window.
Gosh.
Finally, I could see this person had covered themselves with a skull mask. We both froze and just stared at each other. I couldn't help but look into their eyes. The eyes. There was something unnerving about them. They didn't look like they were holding in laughter, like it was a prank. Through this creepy skull mask, I saw that they just looked curious, like how a little kid looks at an animal in the zoo. I shut my eyes and started calling for help. I had been screaming for so long. Why couldn't anyone hear me? I feared that fatigue would take over and they'd get in. At this moment, I swear I was almost convinced that death had come to collect me. I remembered my phone had Google Assist. With my hands still in the locks, I tried my luck and said, "Hey, call 000." It worked, and my phone contacted emergency services. I could not describe the feeling I got hearing the voice of the operator on the other line. I heard the blunt jingle of keys dropping. I opened my eyes, and the person dressed as Death had disappeared. I tried looking around, but I didn't want to move. I just spoke to the lady on the line while holding the locks. She told me to keep doing what I was doing, and that she was sending the police. I waited on the line with her until the police arrived. It felt like hours, but it was only around 10 minutes. I told them what had happened.
Imagine if they broke the glass.
Was threatening and I feared for my safety. I was required to make a formal statement to the station. They told me they'd keep it on file. The officers spoke to the people in the neighborhood, and none of them heard me scream or saw anything, and they were used to the dogs going off at night. I found my keys around 2 meters from my car. I called my boss, and the officers followed me back to my work, where I signed out. I then followed them to the police station. I called my parents, and they took my statement. It was almost 1 a.m. when it was finally finished. This was a couple of months ago, but sometimes it feels like I'm going crazy. It was probably some asshole messing with me, but they just looked so curious, like they were studying me.
Honestly,
or they enjoyed watching me feel helpless and terrified. I still do deliveries, but I never leave my keys in the car.
In a dark environment with headphones. Alright, let me turn my lights off real quick. Sweet dreams. Turn my light off. Light not trying to go off? The freak. Let me turn my light off. I say less. What we here? This is what I look like with the lights off, though. Alright, what we looking at, gang? Might want to sit back, though, because I might get jump scared. How y'all doing, though? Y'all what? Oh my gosh. I can't see. I already got the sheets out of my head. Yes, sir. Oh, they still coming. Anxiety's over the roof right now, man. Back up. Don't look. Gosh. I'm sleeping with the lights on, man. I'm already up. You already got me up. I'm already up. I'm staying up. I think something might be in that corner, bro. You and your mom. Turn the light on. Turn the light on. Right now. I'm sleeping with the light on, bro. I am sleeping with the light on.
I know you're not real.
Oh my gosh. Switch that light on, gang. Get back so when you're under the blanket. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting up in my seat. But anyways, that's what I have to do for this week's Fright Night Fridays. You already know what to do. You already got Spooky Scary Sunday coming up in the way. Told y'all I was gonna bring it back if y'all want more. Y'all wanted more, so I'm gonna bring it back for y'all. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, you already know what to do with that like button. Hit that like button, subscribe today, join the house. Keep on keeping on. KnightxKenshin signing off, and I'll see you guys in the next. Until then, Fright Night Fridays.